Hi, my name is Kayla Thurber, and my amazing mentee is Anaís Fernández. When we first met, I couldn't believe how many similarities we had. We are both New York transplants, love theater and poetry, and are part of the LGBTQ+ community. From the start, we really just clicked and have had a truly collaborative relationship. I love working with Anaís. Her thoughts are innovative and curious, which translates directly to the page, as you'll soon witness in her excellent poem, A Passenger's Library.
It was October when I went back to school. Like most of the country, I hadn't been inside my school building since March, and I was nervously anticipating what it would be like to be back. But what I didn't anticipate was how it felt to take the train again in 7 months. My commute was my favorite part of going to school in the morning, and when my usual subway car was devoid of the faces I used to know, it hit me harder than I expected. As such, my first train ride was spent writing in my notes app and reconciling with the loss of something I didn't realize I held so closely in the first place. This is A Passenger's Library. The faces on this train used to tell stories. Good stories. Stories like the ones passed down from our mothers. Stories that feel like speeding through space, or maybe through a darkened subway tunnel. The faces on this train used to tell stories with all the figurative language my English teacher could ask for. I could find similes in their smiles, metaphors in their mouths, imagery right behind their eyes, and always irony tucked into the corners of their lips. Sad stories. Stories of cold nights and not enough to wear. Stories that sound like clinking coins in cups. Stories printed in black and white, flipped through and left behind for the next person. Loud stories. Stories of boombox bass and beat-up baseball caps. Stories that start with, "It's showtime, folks," and read like limber limbs on steel poles. The seats on this train used to tell stories. Stories of lost things, umbrellas and metro cards, mittens and hats. They say that one man's trash is another man's treasure, and I imagine that if all the lost things on the subway were turned into illustrations, they would create the most beautiful picture book. The bodies on this train used to tell stories. In the summer they would shine, and in the winter they would disappear only to come out again too early, forgetting that the snow always has the best April Fool's Day trick up its sleeve. The subway was my favorite library. No overdue policy, and the shelves were always stocked, but never the same. I treated the threshold between the platform and train car floor like a steel-bound front cover, and when the man tells me to stand clear of the closing doors, it sounds like a dedication. The faces on this train are few now, covered and concealed by a cloth veil. I know that behind the mask, there is still a story, but for now, all the titles are the same. Keep breathing.